Hey everyone, it's Nico, and over the past, 6 to 8 months or so, I've had so many different types of roguelites put in front of me, and I do really enjoy these style of games, but I thought it would be fun to just do one video and cover all of the different types of roguelites that I've been playing. So I've got 7 different games here that I've been playing over the past 6 to 8 weeks or so. They're different types. I have Vampire Survivors likes, I've got Dead Cells likes, all different types. So if you're into roguelites, hopefully there's at least 1 or 2 games here that you will either wishlist or pick up and enjoy for yourself. But before we get started, I just want to set the expectation. A few of these games, 4 out of the 7, I haven't covered yet on the channel, so I'm going to give you all of my impressions here in one place in this video. And then I have a few games, 3, at the end of this video that I've already reviewed, but they've continued to get updated, or I just continued to enjoy them, so I kept playing them. So I'll include links to those so you can see my full breakdown with my analytical approach that I take in my reviews. I won't rehash too much of it, so for those of you that have already watched my reviews, you won't have to sit through another long-winded explanation. But without further ado, the first game that I've been playing is Jotunnslayer, Hordes of Hel, which is a Norse mythology survivors like. And I play a lot of these games. I absolutely love them. But what I'm always looking for with these types of games is something different. Not necessarily something different than any other survivors like out there, but something different than any that I have personally played. And this one definitely has a bit of a different premise. A lot of survivors-like games, they're either time-based, where you're trying to survive for as long as possible, or they might be wave-based, where you're just trying to survive timed waves or eliminate a certain amount of enemies or something like that. This one has a more objective or task-based approach, where you actually have some objectives to complete. Usually get your choice between at least a few of these with varying difficulty levels, and then after you complete enough of these on a stage, then you can summon the boss, and then you defeat the boss, and then you complete the level. This is different than any other survivors-like game that I have played, and I actually rather enjoyed having that choice and also having an objective where I didn't feel like I was either just standing still or just wandering around aimlessly. There's always something for you to work towards and to do, and I really like that. The implementation of the gods from Norse mythology also reminded me quite a bit of Hades, which I absolutely love. Hades has got to be probably my favorite roguelite, just flat out, and I can't wait to play Hades 2 when it launches in a physical edition on Nintendo Switch 2 in November. Yes, I'm actually going to wait for that before I play it, because I gotta have it in my collection in physical form. But getting back to Jotunnslayer, Hordes of Hel, this one is lacking a little bit in content, I think, compared to other games in this subgenre, as there are only 5 levels. Yeah, there's some replayability there, because first you play through on normal, then there's hard, then there's insane, and of course there's an endless mode. But 5 levels for something that's objective based, and a lot of the objectives are kind of reused across the levels, felt a bit lackluster for the higher price point than a lot of games in the genre. And then additionally, like, there's unlockables, yeah, but as far as cosmetics go, and this isn't necessarily something I care a great deal about, but it just happens to rub me the wrong way, is that each of the several characters only has 1 cosmetic that you can unlock by playing. The rest are actually DLC packs, which is a bummer. But what I liked about this one, outside of the objective-based system, is how much you can upgrade in this, both permanently and during your runs. The permanent upgrades, you have some progress that is shared across your characters, since you can upgrade the gods. They each have their own skill tree. Then each character has their own skill tree as well. And there's both active things in these trees and passive things. So I like when there's layers to the upgrade systems, and you're going to see this in the second game that I'm going to talk about in a second as well. But this one is really fun, but it just hasn't kept me busy as long as other games like this do. Hopefully they add some additional content, but I think what it's lacking in content is probably made up for in its style. It's got really nice visuals and a lot of effects there. I don't know, if you like style over substance, then this is absolutely one you should check out. But if you're looking for a game that's going to keep you busy for like 100 hours or dozens and dozens of hours, I don't necessarily think this is going to be the one. I certainly have only gotten a little bit of playtime out of it, about 10 hours, and I'll come back to it eventually, but I'm not really compelled to like a lot of other games in the genre. Then coming off the heels of that game is actually one that's been out for a while and was recommended to me by a viewer a few months ago. I did a video on Survivors likes, and this is Soulstone Survivors. And I can see why this was recommended to me, because this one is loaded with content. Not just levels and different difficulties with the curse system and all those sort of things, but the characters. There are so many different characters to unlock, achievements, lots of layers to the upgrade system, just like the previous game. This one's a little less on the story and a little bit more on the action. Each character has different kits, they have different attributes tied to them. You can unlock weapons for them. There's a skill tree that applies to all characters. They all felt very different too. So trying to try them out and find which one really suited my playstyle was a lot of fun. You wouldn't think that a game with this many characters would be well balanced, but it actually felt like it is. And this also is continuing to be updated still. When I played it, it was actually version 1.2, so it has gotten a few substantial upgrades since it launched out of early access, and I don't know what else to say about this one, other than if you have not played Soulstone Survivors, you totally should. This is one of the better games in the genre that I have played since the original Vampire Survivors and Noobs Are Coming, which I'll mention a little bit later in the video. That one I am continuing to play and enjoy quite a bit. But Soulstone Survivors is an amazing time, and you should definitely play this one. If there's only one game from this video that is a Survivors-like that you play, this should be the one. Tons of content. It's going to keep you busy for a long time, especially if you're an achievement hunter. This game's got over 400 achievements. If you're a completionist, my condolences with this one, because you are going to be busy for a long time. Then next up, we're going to shift gears a little bit, get away from the Survivors likes, and get more into the action, side-scrolling platformer type of roguelites. This one I admittedly have only played like an hour of, and that's because, like I mentioned, I'm not real big on early access games. I prefer to wait till they're finished. This is Neon Abyss 2. And, you know, when I looked at the Steam reviews for this, I was immediately like, huh, what's going on here? This game looks pretty cool, but it's got a mixed reception. And then after looking at some of the reviews, I could see it's more along the lines of people are disappointed that it's not as good as the previous game, which I have not played. And what I played of it, I had fun with it. You can play this one up to 4-player co-op. It is more akin to a side-scrolling run and gun with some roguelite elements. I didn't play enough of it to give a in-depth analysis, but this might be one to just wishlist and see how it turns out. It has a lengthy roadmap ahead of it. There's a long path, I think, for this one to get to where it needs to be highly enjoyable. But from my personal experience, without considering any others' feelings on it, I did enjoy what I played of it. So check out Neon Abyss 2, or maybe just wishlist it and wait till this one gets a little bit further along, especially if you like the first one, because it seems like everybody that played the first one hates this one. So, is what it is, right? Then next was Katanaut, which is a fast-paced action roguelite. It's steeped in cosmic horror and has a little bit of some Metroidvania elements sprinkled in. Now this one is definitely going to be familiar to those of you that really enjoy Dead Cells. It is quite a bit similar to how that plays out. You have your fast travel locations on the map for each of the biomes. You could zip around really quickly. There's your different currency types for run-specific upgrades, but then also, of course, your permanent upgrades as well from when you fail at a run or complete a run. After you do complete a run and beat the game, you then get an increased difficulty with different modifiers, very similar to the boss cells in Dead Cells, as I mentioned. But what plays quite a bit different here is the stamina. And the stamina is something that I didn't necessarily mind here, but I really don't like stamina meters just in general. I usually like to go in willy-nilly, and recently the developer did actually add in a setting in the accessibility options so that if you want to, you can turn off the stamina meter altogether. Now, I would normally do that, but I feel like something like that really changes how the game plays, and that's not necessarily how it's intended to play. So as much as I think I would enjoy it more without the stamina meter, I do also want to appreciate what they were going for by including it. And it does ramp up the difficulty because you can't just go willy-nilly swinging your sword around, dashing as much as you want. It adds strategy to the gameplay, whereas turning this off is going to strip that away. So, hey, if you would enjoy it more with that off, then by all means, just have fun. That's what games are supposed to be, is fun. But for me, I decided to leave it on, and I'm glad I did, because it introduced more strategy into the gameplay, and there's something about this that maybe doesn't translate through in the footage, but is actually more fun when you're hands-on. Dashing around and rolling and comboing, and getting together your best build and juggling your melee with your guns. This one is so much fun, and I'm really having a great time with it. I'm continuing to play this. It's continuing to be updated since it just launched about a week ago. And if you haven't heard of Katanaut yet, you should absolutely check this one out. It's a really good time. So now that brings me to my 3 games that I've already reviewed, and Noobs Are Coming is the first one that I continue to play. This developer of this game, he continues to pull me right back into this game. Now why? Because he continues to update it, and this is kind of the exception to the rule, because this is an early access game, and I said I didn't really like early access games that much. But this one is so polished and mostly bug-free that it doesn't even feel like an early access game. He continues to add new abilities and new characters, and beyond that, just add some polish to it with each new update. So I'm continuing to enjoy this. I dive in almost every other update to see what's changed, what's improved, and the best part about this is it's co-op, and although it doesn't have online, you can play it through remote play on Steam. So that is my favorite way to play this. I really do enjoy co-op games, and especially roguelites. So if you have a buddy to play with, you only really need to own 1 copy and you can play it through remote play. I did my full review. It does still apply. The game hasn't changed too much since I did it. So check the link to that and you'll get all the details on why this game is so awesome. Another game that I reviewed that's continuing to be updated, and this one's more for the adults, is Turret Girls, which is an on-rails action roguelite, completely different than any other roguelite I've ever played. I've never played one that was on rails and that was essentially a third-person on-rail shooter. It's got some cheeky camera angles. You could customize the girl when she takes damage or clothes rip. I mean, I don't care that much about that aspect of it. It doesn't take anything away. It doesn't add too much for me. But for some of you, you might not like that it's there, or you might actually really like that it's there. So it could go either way. But this one, again, like Noobs Are Coming, is continuing to be updated and improved. Some of the criticisms I had in my review have been addressed and the game's improved from it. This is another fun one. Lots of cosmetics to unlock, reasons to come back to it. I actually like this more now that it's been updated twice than I did when I reviewed it. So I have a more positive impression of this game, I guess we'll say. So if you're looking for a game in this style, check out Turret Girls. I don't know anything like it. A few people mentioned in my comment section that there are similar games and they threw some names out. So check there if you're into games of this style. I don't remember off the top of my head what they were because I didn't check them out. But yeah, Turret Girls, good time and a bit cheeky. Then the last game here I just reviewed last week is Stormlancers, and my apologies to the console players that I held the console exclusive all the way to the end, but I kind of went in order of when I played these. And Stormlancers, again, is a co-op roguelite. It is local only, but since it's only on Switch, you don't really have the benefit of the remote play that Steam has. This is one that I enjoy a lot. And the developer was nice enough to watch my review and comment and let me know that some of my criticisms and fair complaints are going to be addressed in future updates. So I am definitely looking forward to that. This one is a good starter roguelite because it's a lot more simplistic. There aren't any skill trees or anything too in-depth in terms of its mechanics and its upgrade systems. They are rewarding enough to keep somebody like myself interested that I would consider to be more of a veteran as I play a lot of these types of games, but it has a heavy emphasis on the different weapon types. There's melee and ranged weapons, and you can customize your build throughout the run. You do have some permanent progression, but it's very basic, a lot of passives and things of that nature. It's not in-depth like any of the other games we've covered here, but Stormlancers is one that looks really great, plays really great on Nintendo Switch 2 is how I played it. So if you are a Switch owner and you haven't heard of this game, which if you watch the Nintendo Directs, you should have at least seen a little bit that they had of it in there, you should check out Stormlancers. I think this game's flying under the radar right now. I don't see a lot of activity or talk about it, and that's unfortunate because I think it's a good time. But that's all I've got in this video. That's a lot of roguelites. I've been playing so many of them. I kind of need a break, so hopefully other than these games, I don't play any new ones until Hades 2 in a couple months. But if there are any roguelites that you're currently playing, let me know in the comments below which ones you're enjoying the most. If you plan on picking any of these up and have never heard of them before, let me know, because I'm always curious what you guys learn about from me and end up getting and enjoying for yourselves. So thank you for watching this lengthy video. As always, I appreciate you watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, have a good one.